I think we might actually have finally figured out how to do this. So, bear with me while I make sure I have this correct. It looks like I do, but let's take a look anyway. Yeah, I'm an idiot. I don't know how to do this all correctly yet, and things have changed since the last time. Okay, it says I'm live, so let's assume it's working. Okay. Well, I know I'm running late. I was supposed to do this at 5, and it's like 5:30 almost, or something like that. What time is it? Oh, 6:15, so like I'm an hour and 15 minutes late, but that's because I've been fiddling with it, trying to make sure I've got it right. We're finally there. Now, what was I saying? I was saying that we have to recognize our role as a society and the things that these governments and corporations get away with. I have a let's start with gaming and censorship. Okay, gamers hitting the report button and reporting each other over every little thing that offends them has had a snowball effect that has emboldened governments and corporations to push their censorship and control further and further. These new kids online safety acts, all this stuff they're trying to pull, it's not about protecting kids. It's not about what Mudahar or most of these other YouTubers have been speculating on these past few months. No, I'll tell you what it really is. It really is that the corporations and governments of this world are run by sick, evil, twisted people. They're murderers, they're rapists, they're thieves, embezzlers, and pedophiles. Every single one of them. If not directly, then through complicity. That goes the same for every single celebrity and regular Joe who continues to fanboy for these politicians and corporations. You fanboy for Nintendo? I consider you a pedophile, a rapist, a thief, and a murderer, and a slave driver. Because Nintendo does all of those things. Nike does all of those things. Xi Jinping, Donald Trump, Josh Hawley, Jasmine Crockett, they all go to the same sex clubs. They're all complicit. They're all complicit. They're all pedophiles. They all go to Epstein's Islands. They all go to the freak-offs at Diddy's house. And they all give each other little slaps on the wrist. That's why Diddy got to walk away, because they told him, you will be silent, or we'll do to you what we did to Epstein. Okay? We are not in a situation where it's Democrats versus Republicans or left versus right. They would love for you to continue to believe that. No, it's a situation where it is the aristocracy versus the rest of us. It always has been. It always will be. It's not blacks. It's not the Muslims. It's not the Indians coming for your children. It's not the transgenders or the gays for the most part. No. It's the aristocracy who wants your kids. That is the point of digital and real ID. Is to identify vulnerable families and vulnerable children and kidnap you. Kidnap them and take them out. It's all about control. It's all about identification of the vulnerable. They're coming, one way or the other. They don't care about you. They don't care about the safety of your children. They care about enriching themselves. They care about their perversions. And that's all they care about. They care about their good time and their fun. And they damn sure don't care about you. They've proven that time and time again. They have sold us out. Every politician on this planet has sold their people out to the corporations and the corporate ideology. They all go to the same clubs. They're all educated on the same campuses. Harvard, Yale, Stanford, Princeton. These places churn out pedophiles like a wood mill churns out paper. You are not angry enough at Nintendo, at Cargill, at Nabisco, Nestle, Hershey. You're not angry enough at them. They're poisoning us. They're stealing your children. They're stealing innocence. They're stealing all the wealth. They're ensuring that you will spend the rest of your life working your fingers to the bone, getting their wealth for them, furthering their agendas, and you're handing them your children on a silver platter if you continue to comply with their laws and their censorship. They want to suppress your ability to call them out on their evil, on their crimes. That's what these new laws are about. That and nothing else. The leadership at YouTube, the leadership at Twitch, Kick, it's all the same. It's all the same people. Spotify, all the same people. JD Vance is related to the people who run Spotify. You know that part? There's a YouTube video that points it out and gives you more details on it. But I'm not here for details. I'm here to make one thing abundantly clear. The pedophiles that they have been arresting are the low-hanging fruit. Their attacks on the poor, their attacks on gamers who are fed up with anti-consumer bullshit. It's all by design. It's all to keep you distracted. It's all to make sure that you never have time to stop and think for yourself. It's to make sure you can't call them out, to make sure that they can continue to escape justice. The same people, Ron DeSantis, who just got busted bilking Medicaid and Medicare for millions of dollars for his own use in game, passed a law in Florida that would put pedophiles to death. Well, it's easy for the pedophiles at the top to pass those laws because they know those laws will never apply to them, and it makes them look that much better in your eyes. It's a trick. It's fake. They'll prosecute the little guys as sacrificial lambs to make you think that they're doing their jobs and to trick you into thinking that they are moral, good people. And they are not. They are thieves, embezzlers, liars, rapists, murderers, warmongers, and pedophiles. They all are, either directly or through their complicity, through their silence. Don't trust a fucking thing Kash Patel says. Don't trust a fucking thing Dan Bongino said. Whatever the fuck his name is says. Okay? Don't trust a damn thing any politician tells you ever, especially not Trump. We know that man was on Epstein's island, and he made token attempts to make it look like he condemned Jeffrey Epstein. But you know what he didn't do? What he didn't do was arrest Jeffrey Epstein and put him in prison. Or have him arrested and put in prison. He says he knew these things were going on, and that's why he banned him from Mar-a-Lago. But a man in Trump's position could easily have busted that case wide open, and he failed to do so. George Carlin said it's a big club and you're not in it, but George Carlin also never denied that he was in the club. So I think we should start treating all celebrities, all politicians, and all corporations as suspect. We should take away the benefit of the doubt that they refuse to give us. They treat us as guilty until proven innocent. We should do the same to them and stop allowing them to further their agendas of control and slavery. Because that's what they want. They want true blue, in chains, no defense, slavery back. They do not like your freedoms. They do not like you being free. They do not like the fact that they have to pay you now. And so they are going to try to do everything they can to get rid of consumer rights and labor laws. And they have been dismantling these things for a very long time now, as it is. And you should recognize that these people do not have your best interests at heart. That they do not like you. They consider you stupid, ignorant, and the scum of the earth. They talk about you in disgusting ways in their little back rooms where the public never gets to see. Like, excuse me, like that clip of John Kerry where he says that he had to reassure the rich that the poor people do not have a right to rebel. That is a very telling statement, and that clip is still floating around on the internet somewhere. Rebellion is what's needed. We need to kick foreign corporations out of this country. We need to stop letting Mario and Link suck our dicks into complacency. We need to stop letting Bethesda characters suck our dicks into complacency. We need to stop letting the government pretend to suck our dicks into complacency. You can call me insane, you can call me all kinds of names, you can say it's a conspiracy theory, you can claim that it's not all connected, but it very clearly is. The evidence has been all around us for a very long time now, and we have kept our heads buried in our video games and in our erotic fan fictions for far too long. We have a role to play in this insofar as that we are letting them get away with it. We are the majority. There are 285 million active gamers in North America alone. So when Kash Patel says Nintendo asked him to do something about pirating and threatens gamers that they will arrest gamers for pirating, they can't get They do not have the resources to get all 285 million of us. If buying is not ownership, piracy is not stealing. Because to pay money for a game under the pretense that you own it, only to find out later, as Louis Rossman has pointed out many times, that in fact you do not own it, that is theft of your time and money. That is theft of your joy. That is theft of your child's innocence. And your censorship, your individual censorship, every time you hit the report button, is the theft of other people's innocence and joy. There was entirely too much bloodshed to make this country free. And we are willingly handing it over to murderers, rapists, and pedophiles. And this is a problem that has gone back to ancient times. Remember that movie Ben-Hur? They have this whole little scene, oysters and clams? Yeah, they're not talking about oysters and clams. They're talking about heterosexual and homosexuality. And the person that the character was talking to was a 17-year-old child. Pedophilia goes back as far as ancient Rome, and it used to be socially acceptable, and the aristocracy wants to make it socially acceptable again so that they will not be punished for their sex work, for their trafficking rings. Not that they would be anyway, because again, the ones at the top are always going to get away with it. They're not going to tell on each other. They are only going to prosecute people like P. Diddy and R. Kelly at the bottom. So they have something to point at and say, look, we're doing our jobs, when in fact they are the perpetrators. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting how much we let them get away with it. And we have to do something. Because if we don't do something soon, in the next 20 or 30 years or so, you're going to find yourself working on a corporate plantation, no money, no pay, and your daughter and sons are going to be their sex slaves until they're old enough to work the fields and of no attractiveness to them anymore. And then that is how your generations, your future, is going to spend their lives. Better wake up, man. We have got to wake up. There's no choice. They have brought us to this point. We have allowed them to bring us to this point. We have to do something sooner or later. There's never a point of no return, but there is a point where the future becomes horrifically bleak and dark, and it will take a century just to get back to where we are at today, where we still have a chance to fight. Where we still have a chance to bring sanity and justice back to this world. But the politicians, they're not going to do it. They're too busy stealing your money. They're too busy pointing their fingers at the poor and stirring up your hatred against the poor and the homeless people as if they're the real problem. They're the ones who caused the poverty and homelessness. Because they sold us out to Palantir, they sold us out to BlackRock, they're selling all of our homes and land to the corporations. They're the ones who will not put a check on these corporations and keep letting them price us out of being able to survive. The politicians are the ones who legislate against your ability to make any kind of decent money and a living for yourself and not die doing it. And it's been this way. It's been deteriorating for a very long time. For a very, very long time, this has been deteriorating. And we have been headed down this path, and now we are seeing the culmination. We are seeing the culmination of our apathy and our fear and our unwillingness to fight back. Our unwillingness to take the blinders off and see that it's not Republican versus Democrat, to see that it's Republicans and Democrats working together against us, because they are the aristocracy, and it's manufactured division. It's manufactured. They don't oppose each other. They just pretend to. We have to stop letting these cheap parlor tricks work on us. And wake up to the fact that they're leading us into a period, into the darkest period in Earth's history. One of the darkest times we have ever seen in our lives. It won't take them very much longer if we don't do something about it. What can we do? Stop supporting politicians. Stop mouthpiecing for them. Stop fanboying for Sony and Nintendo and Bethesda and Microsoft and everybody in between. Stop pretending like they have your interests at heart. Stop pretending like people like me are crazy and recognize that what we're telling you is the truth. Look at the evidence yourself. Read a fucking third-party... Read a history book that wasn't written by the federal government. Read history books that were not written by governments, for one thing. That's your first key. That's where all your evidence, all the real evidence that we can point at them exists. But there's plenty of evidence in modern times, too. Ron DeSantis goes out of his way to try to suppress speech in Florida. It's always laws for thee and not for me with politicians. They took out the LGBT crosswalk in Orlando, which people are celebrating and lauding as if that's great, because you don't value the free speech of others, but you expect these politicians and others to value your free speech, and that is a foolish mistake. That is a foolish, foolish mistake, and it's part of why they are so successful. At taking away everything people before them had worked for, at taking away your future, at taking away livable wages, at taking away being able to have a life.
There we go, 100.5 plus 13.
I'm very sad and angry with the world. And I just told you all my reasons why.
Yep, sorry.
We let them get away with this stuff. And we keep our heads buried in our video games and in our TV and in our escapism. And we sit there and we argue endlessly about stupid shit. I don't care about the goddamn Superman movies. That's the dumbest shit to argue about. There is real shit to argue about in this world. There is real shit that needs to be solved.
Lots of artillery and airstrikes when the enemy backs up high at the time.
And as long as we stay distracted, arguing over which Superman movie was better, they're both garbage. Okay? They're both garbage in their own ways. Neither of them are all that good. Neither of them are true to Superman.
Like how they're so crazy about us. couple.
Okay?
If someone thinks I'm going to see it again.
Let's settle it right now. Star Trek, Star Wars, they were both written, and they're both written by hacks who are plagiarizing philosophy from other people. Right? They're straight up, they're plagiarizing socialism and Buddhism. And they're cheesy, garbage, plot hole riddled crap. Almost everything that comes on TV always has been. I had love for these properties, but it's decreasing more and more as I realized that these were the means that people used to control and distract. These are the things that they want to keep you talking about instead of talking about them. So, there should not ever be sacred cows. Gaming should not be a sacred cow. Specific TV shows or movies or franchises or comic books should not be sacred cows. These things help us through bad times in our life, sure, but the real sacred cow that you should be clinging to is your freedom of speech, association, freedom of movement, freedom not to have a papers please society, your freedom to start your own business, your freedom to succeed. Those should be your sacred cows. Your freedoms. Nothing else and nothing but. And if you don't wake up to that reality, you won't have those freedoms for very much longer. They're taking them away piece by piece. And they have been for a long time. They dismantled the FCC as a shadow of what it used to be. The FFA as a shadow of what it used to be. The FCC, FTC, FAA, all of our consumer protection bureaus are a shadow of what they used to be, and they are constantly being gutted. Our government is corrupt. Our Department of Labor rarely, if ever, investigates complaints because they are corrupt as well. Because they allow the people who work at the Department of Labor to be local people. Well, when you let local people run your local Department of Labor, they get in bed with the local business owners, and the local business owners then pay them off or threaten them. And so they get away with violating your rights as a worker that the Department of Labor is supposed to be responsible for enforcing. And they are failing on every front. Because they have been corrupted. The corporations only care about their own rights and taking your rights away from you. They don't want you to be able to have any means to stop them from robbing you of your future. This is the simple truth of the world as we are living in it right now. It's the simple, ugly truth. They want to identify vulnerable people who speak out, and they want to disappear them. They want to identify vulnerable children so they can kidnap them and sell them into sex slavery. The rich use sex and children as currency to hold each other in check and accountable, to make sure that nobody snitches. Diddy'd be hanging in his cell if they thought for 1 minute he snitched. If Tom MacDonald hadn't decided to choose the right wing, he would be a dead man right now. And that's true of many celebrities. They would be dead right now. But they had a gun put to their head and were forced to choose a side. Because, you know, once upon a time, Tom MacDonald said in his song, he doesn't think the system is racist, he thinks the system just hates people. And then he went full-on right-wing lunatic after that. And he refuses to acknowledge the evils of Donald Trump and the right. He has been hypnotized and coerced into a system, and he knows it's wrong. But if he wants to continue to make money and stay alive, then he has to take sides, and he chose Trump and the right. So you can't trust a fucking thing any celebrity says, because they are under threat and coercion. And the same thing applies to Eminem. He was also at some point given a choice, and he decided to go full leftist lunatic. They probably have some kind of dirt on him too. I do not for 1 second doubt that they have these actors and celebrities and musicians in compromising positions one way or the other. It doesn't have to be children. It could be something embarrassing from their past that would completely ruin all of their credibility with their fans. The mere threat of not continuing to gain money and status is enough to cow people like Tom MacDonald. He's a coward. He knows he's a coward. They all know they're cowards. And they all know exactly what they're doing. And they all think that we are powerless to stop it. But we're not. We still have the power to stop it. We are not at a point of no return yet. We are not at the point, but we'll get to that point if we don't band together and create a critical mass of pissed off people who are not going to take it anymore. We have to decide not to take it anymore. The onus is on us and only us. And if we don't do shit, then we only have ourselves to blame in the long run. If we keep believing them and letting their lies work on us, we will only have ourselves to blame when ultimately we have nowhere left to go. And our choice is to do their bidding or die. Call me crazy if you want, but that's where we're headed. That's the future I see for us if we don't stop it. So, there you go. That's my stream for today. That's my return to YouTube streaming. As always, fuck you, block me.